First of all, I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I know there's been a lot of great sessions, and it's great to be able to round out really the kind of the last session talking about the huge changes that are happening in our industry, specifically related to cookies. Quick story on Channel Mix. We've been around for 16 years. We know this space inside and out. All we've ever done is marketing analytics. We've seen this time coming for a while, and so my goal for today is really just to give you not only a level of understanding and education about how this is going to impact all of us in the industry and how it already is, frankly, but more importantly, how do you game plan, right? How do you use this as an opportunity with this significant change? Use it as an opportunity to gain competitive advantage, to kind of reset expectations, reset approach, and really think about, don't be fearful, okay? So I'm gonna share some stuff that's gonna maybe scare you a little bit. But I don't want you to be fearful. I just want you to be aware. And then I want you to redirect that energy to how do we use this time as an organization, whether you're an agency or brand listening today, how do we use this time to really affect change? Because there's huge opportunities that are opening up with all of the changes that are happening to, as I mentioned, gain competitive advantage and as well as increase the overall impact that marketing is delivering to your organization. So for those of you who like agendas, I got a quick agenda here. We got 5 things I'm going to cover off on. I've only got 30 minutes today. I'm going to hit you with some content pretty quickly. And there's my other disclaimer is there's a couple of slides in here that are pretty ugly because I tried to cram as much information in here as possible. So forgive me for my creative as we get into this a little bit, but it's a big topic, and I want to make sure that I give you as much information about how to embrace for the reality that we are now faced with as it relates to privacy impacting the way that we ultimately not only communicate, target, and deliver brand awareness to our target audiences, whether they be customers or prospects, but ultimately and engage them. But how do we then measure that success, which is the focus of what I'm going to talk about today. So I'm going to dive in. I mean, as I go through, please fill up the chat, ask questions as you go. I'll try and leave as much time as possible. My email address will be here at the end as well. But I appreciate you jumping on board. And so let's dive into this together. So privacy changes have arrived. So look, this isn't new. Google kept kicking the can down the road. They're really down here at the end, right? 2024. This process has begun. And so I'm going to talk about what that means and really how it affects us as marketers on the media side in particular, and really how it affects our ability to measure. But I don't think any of us should be surprised. If this is the first time you're hearing about cookie deprecation, then sorry, it's been around for a while. We've actually, as a firm, as an analytics platform, we've known this day has been coming, and so we've actually been preparing for it for quite some time. But this change is significant. And the reason why it's so important that we understand Google's impact is really, I call it, it's Google's world and we're living in it. Google owns almost 30% of the digital media share. They own 65 to 70% of the browser share. They dominate in the web analytics space. And GA4 obviously has been converted. It's been a bumpy ride. It continues to be a bit bumpy ride with GA4. But all of those changes are really related to this change in cookie deprecation that's happening. And so when you think about it, what does that mean? Well, what it comes down to is if you think about how we measure marketing, there's 4 ways to look at how we can understand how marketing is impacting our business or our client if you're an agency. The far left, you see media attribution. Media attribution, that's third-party cookie powered, okay? We've leaned into this way too much as an industry. Can I say that out loud? We've really leaned into things like click-through conversions and view-through conversions as the truth in which media is impacting my business. I'm going to tell you right now, being in this space for over 20 years, it's not true. That being said, it's become an accepted practice in our industry to talk about how third-party cookies delivering a view-through conversion or a click-through conversion as it relates to digital media in particular, we've leaned into that as our value proposition in terms of how we measure marketing. I'm going to come back to that. But there's other elements that we can be using, right? First-party cookies. First-party cookie is an example of your website. It's your domain. Google Analytics lives on your website, for example, or Adobe. That's a first-party cookie. That's not going away, but it is going to be significantly limited in what it can do going forward. I'm going to talk about that. We all have first-party data. We all have transaction data. If you're a B2B company, you have CRM data. Any data that I choose to give to you that I can tie down to an individual, that's first-party data because I gave it to you, right? It's first-party, or oftentimes it's referred to as zero-party data. It just means that it's data that you own and it's intelligence that you own. It's not being manufactured by some sort of cookie process. It's true information that lives inside of again, a transaction or CRM system. And then the last one is really no cookies required. So this is media mix modeling. Media mix modeling is not a new thing. Media mix modeling has been around for a long time. Frankly, it was a highly utilized practice before digital ever came onto the landscape. And I'm old enough to know back in the days when digital didn't exist, it was just TV, radio, and print, and this thing called direct mail. So media mix modeling was a way in which we could understand, without cookies, before they even were here, how is marketing impacting my business through statistics and data science. So here's the reality though, gang. Third-party cookies, gone. They're going away. And so I don't want you to freak out, but maybe if you didn't realize it's happening, now's the time to freak out like this awesome little gift. Because they're going away. In fact, Google started this process in January. And already 1% by shutting down 1% of users that no longer can fire a view through or click through conversion rate, right? Can send that signal back to the media platforms. 30 million users have already been impacted, and we're only 1 month in. That's only 1% of users, right? So the significant change of third-party cookies going away is here. We're already seeing user deprecation. And what that means is all of those signals where you've placed a pixel on your website to send back to Facebook or to Google or to Trade Desk or any of your digital platforms to say that somebody took a conversion action on my site, track that third-party cookie, that's gone. It's dead. And it's going to continue to go away. And so that is going to significantly impact how we have tried to discern value, particularly in digital media. And I'm going to come back to that. Look, privacy's here. Okay, let's just embrace it. Privacy's here. There's 5 states that already have it. Other states it's already on the docket. We're not going back. Once it gets into litigation, it's already happening. And what I can also tell you, in personal experience with our business, we've had some clients where litigation is happening because they're still firing a third-party pixel that could be deemed as something breaking privacy law. This is serious. And so we have to really understand and realize that third-party cookies, we should demonize them. Just get rid of them, take them out of your thought because they are going away. And we don't want to set ourselves up for risk from an organizational perspective to know that these things are still firing. And this last quote is a really good one. Right. So the IAB, which tracks our industry and how we use data, measurement as marketers know it today is going away. I couldn't agree more. I've been speaking on this topic now for 2 years, and I don't know if I'm excited that it's finally happening, but I think excited is the wrong term. I think I'm passionate about making sure you understand how this impacts your business going forward. So we know that privacy is here, and so we have some real challenges ahead of us. So what does that mean? Right? So third-party cookies are gone. I gave you a little glimpse of that. But from a measurement challenge perspective, here's what I want you to think about. We've always tried using this phrase called attribution to draw a straight line. And a straight line may look like something like this. I want to know when somebody saw an ad and they clicked on it. And then once they clicked on it, I want to know that that person came to my website, and I want to know that person took a conversion action. And I want to know that that same person got into my CRM system. And then I want to know that that same person became a customer. That's what we as marketers still cling to. We still want to know this single path that people are taking to what we call becoming a customer. Customer journey, whatever phrase you want. The reality of it is we lean into attribution to draw this straight line based on cookies to identify this individual behavior. Okay? That's just what we've always done. And the reality of it is, right, we lean into things like third-party cookies. I just mentioned view-through conversions and click-through conversions. We have first-party cookies, right? For first-party cookie, Google Analytics, you set up an event now. We don't have goals anymore. You set up an event in GA4 and Adobe. That conversion action is captured. That's a first-party cookie. Still know that. It's going to be limited, but I still know that. And if somebody says, hey, I converted my last interaction was paid search and I converted and submitted a lead form or an order, I purchased something, I can still pass that last interaction into my CRM or transaction system and combine some first-party cookie data with first-party data. Okay, that's essentially what we try and do. And if you think, if many of you are on the line thinking, yeah, this is a real pain in the ass, Matt, I try to map it from HubSpot to Salesforce, and it always breaks. And you know what? It's last click interaction anyway, so does it really matter? It doesn't. Can I just tell you that? I'm gonna just tell you right now, it doesn't matter when it comes to measuring the value and impact of marketing. And here's the other problem. This is the reality that we deal with, gang. I cannot, even with third-party cookies going away, I couldn't do it before. I couldn't follow you around the internet. Oh, I saw Matt went to ESPN, then he came back to my site, and then, oh, he clicked on an ad over on Sports Illustrated, and then came back, right? And then he saw something on Amazon, clicked on it, came back. We think we've talked ourselves into this straight line attribution. It's not real, okay? So that's a breath of fresh air. Cool, Matt, I've been trying to solve a problem that's not really solvable. You're right, it's not solvable, but you have to change your thinking. And that's going to be my challenge to you today, is I'm going to ask you to change how you view marketing measurement as we continue on in this presentation. But this is our reality. And so when you think about back to this funnel and trying to draw these straight lines and the impact that's already happening in our industry today, well, guess what? No more click-through conversions, no more view-through conversions, no more retargeting at an individual device level. I can't do that anymore. That's going away. We're going to be thrown into a higher level called audience segments. So retargeting as we know it today is dead. First-party cookies. Okay, well, we already know that campaign query strings, if I'm using UTM tracking, right, to track somebody clicked on a Facebook ad and came to my site, some of those are already being blocked. So campaign tracking is already being hindered. Users are opting out of, I don't want to be tracked on your website. And therefore, our media ROI that we've tried to use with either a third-party cookie or a first-party cookie is already diminished. It's already unclear. But we keep pounding this drum, attribution, attribution, attribution. And then finally, as I get all the way to the bottom of the funnel, right? Look, there's last click attribution at best. We all know as an industry that sucks. And so but we still accept it because it's some sort of answer. And so I want you to just think about this slide for a second and the horror that now it took me a long time to put that on there. So just laugh, make me feel good. But this is our reality. Okay. So feeling pretty good, right? All makes sense. Well, it's no longer a straight line. And so I put this text in here because we are unable to account for all touch points. The buying decision with cookie elimination attribution can only be used for optimization. I'm going to say that again because you're going to hear me say it a bunch. Attribution, as we know it today, how do we attribute success? It can only be used to optimize tactics. And you're going to understand why that's important here in just a minute. So here we are, right? Third-party cookies gone. Here's what I will tell you. The only way to measure marketing impact, how marketing is impacting my business from a revenue, P&L, bottom line perspective, the only way that I can do that going forward is with first-party data and cookieless data. Period, the end. That's it, okay? And I'm going to tell you where first-party cookies still fits into our process because we still need it to optimize, but no longer is Google Analytics going to be my source of truth for everything because cookies are being blocked, right? And if you're an e-com company that's always used GA, great. You can use that, but understand that source of truth is not going to ever tie to your P&L, number one. And number two, I can still use that, though, to optimize how I spend. So there is a role for first-party cookies, but understand if you truly want to measure the impact of marketing on your business, you have to use first-party data and cookieless processes to measure the impact. All right. Everybody feeling good? Right? No problems. No worries, Matt. We've only been doing marketing measurement like this for 30 years. We'll be fine. It's good. No problems. That's not true. So let me tell you how to solve this problem. Okay. That's what I'm going to jump into right now. This new approach, and I will give you my disclaimer right now. A couple of these slides are really, really busy, and I worked on them hard to try and streamline it, but this is a big topic. So forgive my overloaded slide, but I'm going to ask you to hang with me. So first of all, how do we measure now marketing impact? I can't track it in an individual, so I'll kick that out, which is why now I have groups of people going through my marketing funnel. So the first thing I'm going to do, though, this is a really important point. All of your digital marketing platforms have what's classified as first-party data. And what I mean by that is things like clicks, impressions, spend. That is all tracked in platform and is not, I'll say it again, and is not dependent upon a cookie. So I know how much money I spent, I know how much awareness I created, and I know how much engagement I created using first-party data. What I don't have is the click-through conversion and the view-through conversion. Those are gone. Let's keep going. As I move down the funnel, I'm still going to have first-party cookie data, right? I still have some of that, but what I want is the first-party data. How many people actually came to my website, right? How many people actually did I engage with about my brand? And then lastly, of course, where we're really rich in first-party data is how many leads did I create? If a lead shows up in HubSpot, that's first-party data. If an opportunity shows up in Salesforce or even HubSpot, if you're using HubSpot as your CRM, first-party data. Transactions, first-party data. So every organization is rich in first-party data. We just don't use it in the right way to measure marketing. So you'll notice as I go across the spectrum, I'm telling you, I want all spend, not just online, but I want all spend, all marketing, both digital and traditional. I want all marketing spend tied to all website traffic, all leads, all store visits, all phone calls, all traffic, leads, visits, phone calls, all first-party data. I'm registering that activity. And then obviously at the end of the funnel, qualified leads, opportunities, customers, orders, transactions, revenue, all first-party data. And what I'm going to do in our new measurement process is I'm going to tie all of my marketing spend to all of this first-party data. Okay? Period, the end. That's how we are going to measure impact going forward. Measuring marketing must now use all performance data across the entire funnel. Now, here's what's the good news. All right, are you listening? The good news is when I do this, I automatically unlock today what we have at our disposal, which is what we call media mix modeling. But media mix modeling in the 80s is completely different than media mix modeling in 2024. And the reason is because we have machine learning and AI at our disposal. So there's all kinds of crazy talk about, generative AI, ChatGPT, Adobe Firefly. Those are all great, but that's generative AI. What I'm talking about is performance AI. Performance AI isn't sourced from the internet abroad. Performance AI is sourced from your data ecosystem. And when I do that, I can turn on AI to begin to forecast and predict media engagement. I can begin to use AI to tell me if I want more demand, if I want to generate more conversions on my website, how do I do that? By using all data, all spend, AI helps me and enables that process. And I'll show you in a case study here how this all plays out. And then lastly, what we all want is before I spend $1, can I know how many customers, how much revenue, how many transactions will I generate before I spend $1? Okay, that's the promise of AI. And it's not a promise, it's actually real. So what is AI, right? What is marketing impact modeling, which is our technology that we built? What does that even mean? Well, first of all, AI with Cookieless means that by nature, it's already privacy compliant because I'm not using any cookies. I'm not tracking anything. I'm using first-party data and I'm using modeling over the top of it, which means that I don't care about cookies anymore. And you know what? As a company that is only focused on measuring the value of marketing for organizations, I do not care about cookies. I care about them for optimization. What I don't care about them anymore is how we understand its impact on our business and ultimately our bottom line. The second thing, machine learning monitors all touch points. So we're not, by nature, attribution is already limiting. If I have 100 people come to my website and only 10 people convert, I'm going to base my success on what I spent to convert those 10 people. But what about the other 90? Well, you know what? Machine learning doesn't care about conversion attribution. What it cares about is how many touch points actually took place. And when I take all that data and bring it all together and use machine learning, I can deliver forecasts and predictive ROI scenarios that support my goals and align to where I need to go and what I need to do. And to give you a little bit of context, this is just a kind of a screen grab of how a machine learning model works. So the reason I share this is today in attribution, what we try to do, again, we download all this data and we get in Excel and we try to line it all up and draw these straight lines at an individual or at a segment level. It's broken. So you know what we're going to do is we're going to let machines actually draw those lines for us. And that's what the machine learning model is doing. It's essentially saying, in correlation to all of these touch points and all of my spend and whatever I'm targeting, whether it's new customers or revenue or transactions, the model is taking all of that data and running thousands and thousands of scenarios, something you can't do on your own. That's where machine learning is changing our industry, and it's already impacting how we discern the value of marketing today. And my job is to make sure that you understand the opportunity. Remember, I mentioned opportunity for competitive advantage? Using machine learning and performance AI is how you can immediately create competitive advantage right out of the gate. So let me just, this is an ugly slide, but let me just seal this up, right? I mentioned that all data, all three segments, AI tells me not only what happened from a measurement perspective, but it also tells me where to go. What machine learning can't do, and this is the limitation why I still need first-party cookie data, is it can't help me optimize while I'm in campaign. So when I execute a campaign and I'm looking at it on a day-by-day basis and I'm looking at conversion rates that are still happening on my website, maybe I'm using multi-touch attribution, machine learning is not designed to answer those intraday, intra-campaign questions. Think about machine learning and what I'm doing here, measuring impact and the marketing impact modeling. That tells me what happens and it gives me a navigation. Think about Google Maps. It gives me the navigation on how I get to what I need to do to succeed. But just like when you're driving from Kansas City, which is where I'm in right now, to Lawrence, which is where I live, I may take some alternate routes that may be more efficient if there's traffic. Well, that's an optimization exercise, and attribution still helps me make those decisions while I'm trying to get to the destination of where I'm going. So those two things, right? So if you look at this slide, the top is measure, where do I go? And the bottom is making it as efficient as possible to get to my destination. So I want to take that information that I just kind of threw at you and poured on you like a bucket of water, and I'm going to try to bring it to life with a case study, just to give you some examples of how it works. This is our process that we preach to every organization, right? If you want to fix marketing, the first thing we got to do is we got to reach into all those platforms and truly understand the impact. We got to line up all this data. But we're not just going to line up sales or marketing data. We're also going to line up your sales data, because marketing's job is to drive revenue. I don't care what anybody says. Well, Matt, marketing's for brand awareness. Marketing's for engagement. Marketing is for, yes, I get all that. But the reality of it is I'm spending $1 to do those things to create revenue downstream. So our process, what we do is we reach in and we pull out all this first party data, all your sales data, and all your marketing data, not who, but how many, okay? And when we align those results, we unlock AI that allows me to do steps 2, 3, and 4. I can run through any predictive scenario that I want based on what do I want to achieve. The AI engine gives me a budget to tell me how to spend it and where to spend it. The AI engine keeps track of those predictions to make sure you're following the prescription, the prescribed budget, making sure that you're tracking to the goals that we have. And then lastly, where we all live today, I'm going to optimize my budget. First party cookie data, and I still have all of my media data that I'm optimizing now, but instead of a click-through conversion, I'm optimizing on cost per click, click-through rate, cost per impression. I'm still going to be doing those things, but how I tie that to impact, ultimately, I start this wheel over. And the idea is it just goes faster and faster and faster. So here's a quick screen grab of what I'm talking about to pay this off. As I mentioned, the first thing that you should think about doing is forget about attribution, forget about cookies, think about where's all my first party data. That's all this is. In the previous month, you can see in this screenshot up here, in the previous month, I spent $206,000. I generated 15 million impressions, first party data. I generated 3,300 leads. Cool. That's coming out of my website. And then actually leads, qualified leads, and customers. That's all coming out of my CRM system. Now notice, I didn't tell you, well, where did those leads come from? Well, where did you spend those dollars? I don't care right now. What I'm caring about is I'm setting the baseline. Now, as I start to peel that down, I can start to, in this one dashboard, and this is in our product today, but in our product, I can obviously trend all of these things. And basically, I'm just correlating cost. When I spent dollars, did I create qualified leads in this case? And I can look at it by day. I'm setting a baseline. But here's what's interesting. So we leave this in here. We're leaving this in here in our product today as we go through this transition. And right now, you can see why attribution is a terrible way to try to measure the impact of marketing. If you look at display, for example, I spent $46,000. This is real data that's been anonymized. I spent $46,000 to in display, generated almost 10 million impressions, and I got nothing. Whether because tracking sucked or it just people saw the ad, they didn't engage with. That's fine, right? Because all of those things on the left are dependent on a cookie to tell me the data on the right. And all of that information is being deprecated, okay? So what do I do? Well, here's what you do. Once I lined up all of this data now, all first party as a reminder, I'm then able to go and start unlocking performance AI. And again, I'm showing you through the lens of our product, but you'll hopefully you're understanding the philosophy. So what we do is we basically say, what do I want to plan for? Okay, well, I want to plan for the next 3 months in this scenario. And so this screen grab's a little bit old, but you'll understand what I'm talking about here. So I want to plan for Q3, right? So July, August, and September. And my basis that I'm going to use for performance is really the previous period. So what happened in Q1? Now, when I activated this, my pipeline automatically updated and told me, okay, well, Matt, in Q1, this is what your pipeline looked like. Now what I'm doing is saying, well, what do I want to achieve? In this case, I want more website leads. And I know that I generated 9,600 website leads in Q1, but I need 10,000 in Q3. Okay, well, I just did the fast math. It cost me $45.25 to generate a website lead. I just said, I want 10,000. We just gave you the budget that you need to achieve that. Question number one answered. Forecast, budget, done. The next question, though, becomes, how do I spend that money, right? And this is where performance AI can change the game in marketing analytics. I set a budget. I forecasted it. Now, I just ran in this screen grab, but this is how our product works. In real time, I just ran this model. And so all I did was plot. I wanted 10,000 leads, right, at a cost of $452,000. Anything that I can see in that upper left-hand quadrant, those are all top predictions. Those are all results telling me, based on cookieless machine learning modeling powered by AI, that, you know what, for 5% less, I can generate 39% more website leads. And oh, by the way, this is how you spend the money. And so rather than $45 for a website lead, $45.25, I can do it for $30.90. And the machine learning tells me this is how to spend my money, right? Now think about doing that today in attribution. You spend all of your time piecing together data in dashboards, whether it's from your agency, whether it's from internal systems, you're just trying to figure out what the hell happened. Machine learning and the process that I'm describing skips over all of that and gets you to an answer, because now what we're doing is we're unlocking technology at our disposal to tell us where to go and what to do. And all of these scenarios, literally every one of these bubbles is a model telling me different scenarios that I can use to execute, in this case, in Q3 to meet the goals that I've set. So I said that I wanted 10,000 website leads. The model says that you can actually generate 11,000 in this last scenario for 26% less, 12% more, 26% less. Gang, when you have a platform or a solution that's telling you how to spend less and get more, you're winning in marketing. And most of us today, I would say over 90% of us, don't have these kinds of answers at our disposal. Why? Because of the technology and the methodologies that we've used historically. So just to round out this B2B case study, look, wildly successful. Now, obviously, a lot of it has to do with how we're doing creative and the timing and the sequencing and all those things. I have to still execute, right? The machine told me this is where to go and what to do, but I'm still responsible for making that happen. And so the combination of those two things will get you results like this, including 210% increase in leads, 17% reduction in my cost per lead, and a 12% growth in customers. So think about that. 17% cost down on my cost per lead and a 12% increase in growth. That's what using first-party data and machine learning performance AI will do for you and your organization. So I want to spend real quick your game plan to win, because I'm almost out of time here. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to ask these 4 questions. Do you own a single source of truth? And by the way, these slides will be available to you. Do you have a single source of truth? Is reporting still done in silos? How are you measuring success? Is AI part of your stack today? And I want you to screenshot this and I want you to rank it. Where are you at? 1 to 5. Tell me. And then lastly, what I want you to do is get on a whiteboard, review your score, and then evaluate, do I have the right technology and the right partner to execute against this? And then commit to a plan to leverage AI. That's what I want you to do. And I spent a little bit more time in the education than I wanted to in this 30 minutes, but it's really, really important that you understand the framework of what's happening in our space and what to do. So that's what's happening. That's what to do. How can we help? Let me just wrap it up. We do 4 things for brands. We deliver more revenue. We reduce waste, align marketing and sales, and ultimately give you ownership and transparency into what marketing is doing to impact your business. We have a full stack, meaning you don't have to piece together technologies like maybe you're doing today. I don't have to have a data aggregation tool with Looker Studio and some other no, you don't have to do any of that. You have one platform that can service your entire funnel, including all the marketing resources and to make decisions using this process that I've just quickly outlined for you. So I want to thank you for your time. Again, I spent a lot of time, I know, in this setup, but I'm very passionate about educating in this space and making sure you all are not only understanding how it's changing, but really what to do. And that's what we do and really what we're passionate here at Channel Mix about. So with that, I'm going to pop out of the presentation and open up for questions.